Hello everyone and welcome to Simplex Cuisine. My name is Harper, if you did not know, and today I'm going to show you how to make my amazing, delicious, and more or less just phenomenal egg and cheese breakfast sandwich. So with that, let us begin. So of course, as usual, the ingredients and the exact proportions and whatnot will be in the description down below, so you can check it out there. But number one, I want to say that, honestly, this is one of those meals that of course you can customize as you want. You can use different breads or cheeses, but I honestly feel like sourdough bread and cheddar cheese are the best options for this sandwich. Sourdough has that very amazing crunchy crispiness when it gets toasted. It has that taste where it still brings things to the dish, but it's not too overpowering. So honestly, I feel like it is the best vehicle for this sandwich. And then cheddar cheese just it has that little bit of sharpness that just brings everything together. It melts perfectly. Honestly, it's the best. But as usual, if you guys want to, of course, customize, have at it. But more or less from there, first thing you're gonna do is just crack your eggs and start scrambling them up. Now, I season mine with pepper, but not salt yet. I like salting my eggs right before they go onto the sandwich, and this is mostly because I read this thing a really long time ago that said that salt deteriorates the eggs, while it's cooking because, science and whatnot. And I was like, yeah, that is not good. Honestly, thinking back on it, I'm like, doesn't really matter, but it does matter in the way that you want to know how much salt you need to use. And of course you can continually salt it or whatnot, but if you put too much salt in raw eggs, you can't really taste to make sure it's good, and then when it's cooked, well, you have really overly salted eggs and you really can't do anything. Peppering things is way easier in the beginning than salting things, but more or less from there, heat up your griddle on around medium heat or so, and you can honestly have this just going the whole time. You don't have to heat it up in the beginning because you don't want to have your bread overly toasted where it's too crispy. But more or less, place your two pieces of bread down and then place your cheese down too, and have them on both sides. Make sure to have them on both sides because that combination of two layers of cheese plus eggs is absolutely delicious, and it's not as fun when it's a lot of cheese, a lot of eggs, and then one piece of toast with nothing on it. So while that is toasting slowly and melting the cheese, you're gonna start cooking your eggs. Now I do this simultaneously because honestly, scrambling eggs takes less than 2 minutes. So you can have them going at the same time and nothing happens. And also, I like cooking my eggs perfectly where they're still a little bit runny. They won't completely just fall apart if you put them on the bread. They'll keep themselves together, but they're not overly cooked, so when you eat it, the eggs are still a little bit runny and they're not very dry. So with that being said, just put some butter down. I use butter because that nutty butter taste goes perfectly with eggs. I think it's the best thing ever. If you can have butter, please put on butter because it honestly is the best. But more or less, just cook your eggs, scramble them up like usual. I don't have to really describe what scrambling eggs are. Get the eggs to that perfect area where they're a little bit runny and they're also cooked. Just have it like that. By then, your bread should be nicely toasted, still a little soft on the inside, but nice and crispy on the outside. And of course, the cheese will be almost fully melted. Just put on your eggs on one side of the bread. Try to get even layers so you don't get, a bite of just bread or whatever. Really try to even out these layers perfectly, not perfectly, but just even out these layers. And then finally, just place the other piece of bread onto the sandwich, and then that's really all. Now, some people, they'll butter the skillet or butter the bread to brown the bread really well. I found out that if you do this, the bread will be oily or greasy, and honestly, that's not really fun. So I would just say don't butter, don't grease up, don't oil your griddle because this is already a decadent, incredible, amazing meal. The bread itself, having it where it's quote unquote dry or naked or whatever, it honestly makes this whole dish better because you're already having so much butter and creaminess that you don't need more grease, or else it kind of pushes the scale a little bit too much too bad. But from my little rant, that is really all. This is honestly absolutely phenomenal. The toasted bread gives this whole dish nice little crispiness. The two cheeses placed together with the eggs keeps everything without drying anything out or making it too cheesy or too greasy. The eggs are perfectly done, they're creamy and they're buttery buttery. And I forgot to say this, but of course, put some sriracha on top of the eggs before you put in the sandwich, and then have some sriracha on the side. Sriracha is honestly the best condiment in the entire planet. I will fight anybody who says otherwise. It is absolutely phenomenal. It has a spicy kick. It has like a kind of like, not like a plummy like taste, but it has just like this amazing, like a little bit fruity, but still not too sweet taste. It's honestly just the best, and it works perfectly with this sandwich. You know, the sandwich is very much like this like buttery, creamy, cheesy deliciousness, and having that like cut of sriracha just makes it 10 times better. This is probably my favorite breakfast meal. It is just this amazingly filling, delicious dish, and more importantly, it can be easily customized. You can put bacon, you can put sausage, you can put, you know, different vegetables, and it will be good. It will be delicious, but on its own, it is as phenomenal, you know? Like, you don't have to make it better. It already is amazing. But if you want to have a little bit of toppings, go for it. It does not make this thing worse, usually, hopefully, because sometimes, you know, mushrooms water things out. But more or less from there, that is really all for today. So, of course, if you like this video, click like. If you want to see more from what, just subscribe. I hope you guys have an amazing day. I will see you next time, and as usual, goodbye.